Okay, so if I don't speak on this whole SR5 announcement stuff, it's gonna drive me crazy. Okay, but I just want to start with this: is I'm not being, as I like to say, a boomer about it. I'm not being blinded by nostalgia or anything. To me, it isn't right what they've done, but it has potential. I'll go through the trailer. I'll talk about some of the stuff in the trailer, and then I'll talk about my whole feelings about it and everything. But I just want everyone to know that this is my opinion. If you don't agree with my opinion, that's fine. If you've got any other sort of ideas or anything you want to say on it, you're open to. Just keep it civil in the comments. If you are going to comment, don't be like, oh, stop being blind to nostalgia, or stop. Just don't be a dick about it. Make it a good discussion. Make it a good, clean discussion so that we can actually move forwards with this. So that maybe in a hopes volition will hear our cries for what we actually wanted, and not. I know we already know that this game is going to be produced next year. It's going to be out next year, so we have no opportunity to change the current game that it is now. But if we speak about the things we do like and we don't like now, we start talking about it now. Then when it hopefully that this one doesn't flop, and then when SR6 comes out, we will be back to where we want to be. Okay, so just that's done. The trailer announcement, if you want to watch it, I'll put a link down into the comment in the description. But I've got it muted, so then no copyright and all that bullshit. So then basically that. So yeah, I'm gonna discuss some things. So the opening, the world space. I'm quite interested in the world space because we haven't seen a sort of a western, midwestern sort of area in a Saints Row game before. So it seems quite interesting. I want to start with this character. This character here, I can't remember his name. I only remember one of their names. Um, but this character, he seems sort of like a mixture of Johnny Gat and the boss from the normal games. So SR1 to SR3, because I won't talk about SR4. But I kind of like his character. He he seems quite interesting, so he might be an interesting character to play as, or be a good member of the team. So I don't really hate him. The cars, the visuals, I will talk about afterwards. But um, I want I'll talk about the boss later. But she reminds me. Her name's Beth. I only remember that for some reason. But she reminds me of sort of Shondi, which is it's kind of nice that they've sort of put some familiarity into the new characters. Even though it would have been better if we actually had Pierce, Shondi, Gat, and the boss and everyone else. But we don't, so it is there, neither here nor there. But I like that. That I like how the some of the characters sort of do feel like a mixture of some of the other characters. So she sort of seems quite interesting, quite sort of like a strong character, which is quite nice. If we just skip across this fella here, I don't really have an opinion on because he really wasn't sort of shown that much. He sort of seems like maybe a combination of Pierce and Kinsey, but then again, I don't see that, so I don't really have opinion on him. Hold on, for fuck's sake. Sorry about that. Just had a knock on the fucking door. Of course I would. Of course I would. Start fucking recording. Knock on the door. But anyway, back to it. I don't really have an opinion on this character, so I don't like him, but I don't hate him. That's really sort of where I'm at with that one. So, so this character, he seems if he's supposed to be a boss of one of the gangs, he doesn't really give that off. He more seems like a henchman, if you will, of one of the gangs. So I don't really like how that's portrayed if it's supposed to be the boss. So it's sort of like not 100% sure. And then if we continue, there is a part in this that I'll have to unmute because I don't like it. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about the boss. Okay, now no discredit to the voice actor. She was at the Gamescom thing. She seems like she's a competent actor, but from what I got from the trailer, the boss didn't really convey any emotion, which I don't like. It sort of felt like Tyler Morgan from Need for Speed Payback, which sort of is making it hard to sort of go, oh, I'm fine with the new characters, because it doesn't convey that emotion that has been in there. Like I've been invested since Intro 2, which came out in 2009. That's over a decade since that came out, and all that emotional investment into the Centro series just to have new characters. But if these characters aren't good enough, I don't know how it's going to affect the game. Now there is something else I do want to do, show you, talk about rather. A specific part in this that's really, really annoyed me, which will have to be unmuted. But so not this part here, but it's specifically this voice line that I don't like. So if we start here, now she says, "Get the fuck away from my friends." Okay, right? Now that's fine. That's a fine voice line. It's not bad or anything, but that's not what Saints Row is, in my opinion. That's such a wrong voice line to use. It was always about you play Saints Row 1, Saints Row 2, Saints Row 3. It was never about the boss's friends. They weren't friends. They might have had a friendship. They might have been friends with the boss, but they weren't friends. It was their crew. It was his crew, their crew rather, and that really really annoys me because it doesn't seem genuine now. It doesn't seem like that. It's trying to stay to what the actual game is originally. So that's sort of annoyed me because it's sort of like it feels like very disingenuous in that. So that's why I don't like this character. And you got the Marshall thing, which is supposed to be, I assume, Altor or Stag from Saints Row 3. And so that's the trailer. And then it does that, and then that's the new thing. Now, it's called SR5, but we're going to pretend that it's a complete reboot. It's a complete reboot, but we're going to pretend that it's actually like the name's actually going to be called Saints Row, so it's like a proper reboot instead of a canonical sort of thing with the rest of the games. But what they showed us, I don't think really conveys what very well. It doesn't come across very well because for a start, you have this character who just looks very generic, very boring. To be fair, perfectly fair, she doesn't look like a leader of a gang. That's what I don't like. She doesn't look like that. But apparently we've had a load of customization. Apparently there's loads of character customization. Apparently the most we've ever had. I don't fully believe that because loads of people, when they're about to release a game, lie, and it doesn't surprise me anymore. But what I don't like is that this is how they've conveyed the trailer. Like, oh yeah, there's character customization, all this stuff, but here's what we think should be what your character look like. So here's what we think your character should be. And the character, in my opinion, the boss character is so weak that it's not helping them in any way. It's not allowing them to go ahead and go, right, new series, reboot rather, new cast, everything, we hope you like it. It's not doing that because they haven't portrayed it very well. And another thing as well is the voice actor came on, during the Gamescom conference, and she talked about how she was happy about it and about being a part of the team, being a part of the game, and that she was the voice of the boss. Now, for me, I have played every single Saints Row, excluding the first one because you can't choose your voice, but I've played every single Saints Row in a Cockney accent because it's just funny and it's just amazing. And if I'm unable to use that Cockney accent, it's not going to feel like a Saints Row game. Like my most recent playthrough of, and actually let me step back a few steps, which is because I know people are going to say, "Oh, you're just hating on this person because of her race or because of her sex." My most recent playthrough of a Saints Row was a fat Maui who knows some sort of ninjutsu, um, any ninjutsu, with a Cockney accent. That is that is several different like cultures and races molded into one person. Like that's what was great about Saints Row. Is you could just make what the fuck you wanted, and if that's how they're, if that's what's supposed to be in the game, that's cool and all. But if that's how they're representing it, if that's how they're conveying it, I think it's terrible the way they've done it because they haven't done it in a way that makes you go, oh, that's clearly going to be there. Now I want to talk about the graphics and that, and yeah, a lot of people, to me as well, it does look like a Fortnite light. I don't like the graphic style, the art style that much because it doesn't feel like a Saints Row style. But by judging by the fact that they're using the Epic engine and all that stuff, that I can accept that as long as they don't make it feel like Fortnite. If that makes sense. The little bit of gameplay we got, um, it seems like it's more Saints Row. Back to what Saints Row really is, sort of like the fun gangbang game, which is what we need. But it feels like they've just sort of they've just forgot about the OG fans, the fans who made their game, and that's what I'm upset about. Like, the best way I could put it is think of your favorite TV show or your favorite game that has a character that continually is in each game, and then just imagine that those characters are taken out and replaced with a completely different people, but it's sort of like it's just given the same name. Like that's how the best way to put it is. Another way to put it is like imagine if Nintendo made Mario game, and they just didn't put Mario in it, just put some random character in it that no one knows of. Like that's why everyone's upset. And I understand it's a reboot. I understand that, and that's where some of the stuff, some of the like leaked or some of the stuff they've hinted at has sort of annoyed me because they've hinted that Johnny Gat's going to be in the game. But if they're trying to reboot it, reinvent the series, why add a character from the older games, from the original series into it? Why why dangle that piece of fruit in our face and go, hey, here's what we could have gave you, but we didn't? And that's something that's really really bad. Like, I feel like that's one thing that's not going to help them at all. Is that there's some rumors that they're going to put Johnny Gat in the game, or Johnny Gat's in the game rather. But then they've gone ahead and just given us a completely different crew to work with. It's like if you could have got Johnny Gat, why couldn't you have just got everyone else? Shondi, Pierce, everyone else. I mean, one of my favourite characters from the Saints Row series. It's not my favourite game, Saints Row 3. My favourite Saints Row game is Saints Row 2, then Saints Row 3. But one of my favourite characters from Saints Row 3 is Oleg. I would love to see Oleg back because he was such a cool character. Kinsey was a good character, and all the good characters we had. Like, I'm not against characters being killed off or leaving the Saints or anything like that. Like, we had Carlos in Saints Row 2, we had Lynn in Saints Row 1. In Saints Row 2, one of the Ultor DLCs, we had Dex, which that's another thing as well, is they added Dex as a little thing inside Get Out of Hell, but now that they've now they've come away from that, going, yeah, but let's pretend we didn't do that, but we're still not getting closure on this Dex thing. Like, and I understand Saints Row 3 fans won't fully understand the Dex thing. If you want to fully understand, go watch Flippy's video on it. I'll put a link down in the description as well for that. But to me personally, it doesn't feel like they've really listened to the community very well. They've what they did, basically they've done the opposite of what they did with Saints Row 4. With Saints Row 4, it was the same characters, sort of the similar sort of like story writing, if you will. but not the game people wanted, not the gameplay people wanted. Whereas with Saints Row 5 SR5, they've just gone ahead and gone, oh, we'll give them the gameplay we want, but not the story and the characters they want. And I don't know if they're planning on doing something that means that it converges with the current timeline in a way. So like, we'll pretend that Saints Row 4 didn't happen and Saints Row Get Hell didn't happen. Um, if they're going to plan on making it converge with the Saints Row 3 timeline, or something like that, or if maybe, because they've said they've hinted at Gats being in it, so that means that they could be doing something like, maybe because you never actually find the Morningstar jet in Saints Row 3. You don't find that jet, so there's nothing to say that the jet didn't crash nearer to this place. I can't remember what the new location is called, but nearer to the new location, the new map. And Johnny Gat did survive, but because he has no power, wasn't able to contact the Saints again, and then therefore he's asked this new crew to help him contact the old Saints, and then they've just took on the name of the Saints, the Third Tree Saints. But if they're doing that, I don't know why they didn't convey that in their reveal, because to me it just seems like I've said, it just seems like they've took this over a decade. I mean, it's actually 12 years since Saints Row 2 came out. It's like 14, 15 years since Saints Row 1 came out, and all that time and all that emotional investment that the player base has put into those characters, and they've just gone, we're not going to have those characters in the game, we're starting from scratch. Like, and my opinion of the game at the moment is, I think it has potential. I think it could be a good fun game, but as a Saints Row game, I think it's going to be terrible. It's like, the best way I could put it is, if you took Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012, but then took away the Most Wanted part of that name, just said Need for Speed 2012, that game, people would have loved that game then, because it wasn't associated with the Most Wanted sort of line. It wasn't associated with the Most Wanted games. So then people would have gone, oh, this is a pretty good game. This is a really good game. And it's the same thing with this. I wouldn't have minded if they named it Saints Row, and then something. Like there was a cancelled Saints Row game called Saints Row Undercover, which was a spin-off of the main Saints Row franchise, and that would have been totally fine. And just mayhem. I know it flopped, but people said that was actually a generally fun and good game. So I don't know why they didn't just say, look, we don't want to invest in completely bring back the main Saints Row storyline. So we're going to make a spin-off Saints Row that will be a way to test the waters. Because I understand Volition's not a big team. They're not a AAA developer or anything like that. But to me, it feels like they have marketed it wrong. It's the fact that they remastered Saints Row 3, and then rumors going around about how the Stillport is connected some way to this no location, and then just went, hey, every character you've met in Saints Row 3 no longer exists in this world space. And it's like, I saw some people saying, oh, change is good and stuff like that, but it's not. Saints Row hasn't been that type of game. Like GTA games, you have a different character each game. Fallout, different character each game, because it works, because it's always a different storyline. But with Saints Row, it was always the first Saints Row used the player, then the player became the boss in Saints Row 2, and then was the boss in Saints Row 3. That's how it has always been. I don't know why they have just decided they're going to go ahead and just take away that formula. Just take that away and go, no more of that. No more of that. So that's what's really upset me. But I don't know, because seeing the gameplay and watching the trailer several times, it feels like it could be a Saints Row game. It feels like it's got that sort of familiarity that Volition brings. It looks like it's made by Volition, but to me, it's not going to be a proper Saints Row game if I can't have that boss. I can't be the boss of the third three Saints. I don't have that normal crew. I don't have that anymore, and to me, that's a big part of Saints Row. Saints Row is, like it or not, Saints Row has always been not always. Oh yeah, sorry, always been part gameplay, part story. It's never been just gameplay or just story. And it's like, I don't know what they're planning, because Volition is a very different type of sort of developer. They do some weird stuff, and the truth is that they fucked up when they made Saints Row 4, because it was a bad Saints Row game. Like I said before, if you took Saints Row 4 and then went and made it a spin-off game of the Saints Row franchise, people would have been fine with it. People would have gone, this is a pretty fun game, that's perfectly fine. Same thing with Get Out of Hell. If Get Out of Hell was technically a spin-off, but it stuck to the main storyline of Saints Row up to that point. And it's like, but if they didn't do that, if they had made Saints Row 4 a spin-off and then connected that Saints Row 4, like that spin-off game, to Get Out of Hell, everyone would have been fine with that. People might have not liked the game still. People might have gone, oh, you should still make another Saints Row, a proper Saints Row. But people wouldn't be as upset as they are. And that's what I think this game should be. It shouldn't be a complete reboot, a complete destruction, if you will, of the three established timeline of the games we've already had. It should be, hey, this is a spin-off game that is much like Saints Row, set in the Saints Row universe, but isn't about the third three Saints. And that's perfectly fine. Hell, even if their gang's not called Third Tree Saints, I'll be perfectly happy with it. Because I'm not against this new sort of idea of new crew, new people, or anything like that. I'm never against new people coming into the crew and people dying off. But the main cast has been, hell, I'm gonna even add Saints Row 4 in this. The main cast has been the same 4 people since Saints Row 2. Shondi, Gat, Pierce, and the boss. Hasn't changed since Saints Row 2. We've had additions and we've had subtractions, but it has always stayed the same 4 people. And then just taking that and then going, okay, this established lore, this emotional investment you have on these 4 characters is now no longer here. And yes, I know that Johnny Gat wasn't in Saints Row 3, but it's the fact that these characters have been there since the beginning. Gat's been there since the beginning. Then Saints Row 2, which really put the Saints Row games on the map. It made Saints Row what it is. Saints Row 2 showed people that the Saints Row franchise wasn't a GTA clone. Not even close to GTA clone. It showed people that this game is about gang banging, about you running a gang. And then, I mean, one of the most emotional moments in any video game I've ever played is when you have to put down Carlos. Like, that, genuinely, I had so much fucking rage because of that. And it's like, that's what I want from a Saints Row game. I want it to be fun and funny, and then just all of a sudden just click, fucking serious. Just a serious moment where you're like, fucking hell, this is actually real, sort of thing. But with this, it doesn't feel like that. It still feels like they're trying to go with the statement of Puckage Rogue, if you will, from Saints Row 3. And again, I don't hate Saints Row 3. I do think it's a good Saints Row game because it's stuck to the same formula of their gangs, take them over, control the city. That's what Saints Row is. And yeah, I know there's loads of problems, like the city wasn't as vibrant, wasn't as sort of like, didn't feel like it was lived in as much and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it was still a competent and solid Saints Row game. And then to have this new one come out, especially since it's called Saints Row 5, SR5. To me, it shouldn't be called SR5. It should be called like Saints Row rebooted or Saints Row new crew or some bullshit like that. Those are terrible names, but it doesn't matter. But to me, that they either have to make it as good as Saints Row 2, or the game's going to flop. And if the game flops, it might kill the franchise, and that's not what I don't want to see that happen. I want to see Saints Row 6, but I don't want to see Saints Row 6 with this new crew leading it, if you will. Like I'm not against this new crew somehow. Let's just make some fucking bullshit linear story. Let's say Johnny Gat contacts these 4 people, says, "Hey, I need to take over the city because I'm Johnny Gat, and I want you to do it for me." So you do it for them. Then Johnny Gat connects to the old crew, the actual crew, and then in Saints Row 6 you play as the normal crew that you're supposed to be playing as, and then this new crew is sort of merged into your crew as well. So then, if people generally do like these new characters, we don't lose these new characters, but we also gain the old characters that we liked. That's really it. And I like I said, I think the game's got potential, but it's on a tightrope. Really, they've either got to fucking knock it out of the park with the gameplay and story, or they're going to kill the story. They're going to kill the franchise because they have fucked up big time by not adding any familiarity into it. And I understand that, yes, new players have to come into the game, and that's why I think that if the story is somehow sort of like this new crew is helping someone from the old crew get connected back to the rest of the old crew, so then the next game you can play as that old crew, the crew you're supposed to be playing as, I'm perfectly fine with, because then that allows new players to come into the franchise with new characters they can actually connect with and emotionally sort of invest themselves into, and then realize what a Saints Row game is supposed to be, and then go, oh, now I don't feel like I have to go back and play the older games to understand what's going on. That's what I feel. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Felician's going to just fuck it up completely or not. No idea. No idea. Not that I don't have faith in Felician. I mean, they are capable of doing it, but it feels like they haven't listened to the community fully. They could have had so much community involvement in the process of making this game, but they didn't. If you I will say, if you are part of the Saints Row community at all, then you should know who Mr. Saints Godzilla, some number I can't remember now, is. Apparently, supposedly, don't fully know, but apparently he played quite a while ago. He was invited to the Volition Studios office, and he actually played the game in its current state, and he said it felt like a Saints Row game. So that puts faith. That gives me some faith in the game. But then again, like I said, if it's got potential, but if it fucks up, then they've killed the franchise. Really, that's what I'm worried about. But if you have any sort of additional comments, or you want to sort of like break down anything that I've said and give your opinion on it, you're more than welcome to. Just remember to keep it civil in the comments, just because we don't really need to argue about it. It is Saints Row. If you played Saints Row 3 and you loved it, and you invested in the series, if you played Saints Row 2 and you loved it and you invested in the series, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, yeah, I know they were different games and they had their own problems and stuff like that, but they had the same characters that we've come to love. So it's important to sort of just open a discussion. And one last comment, which is the whole sort of like rumors around they might have put Johnny Gat in it also feels like they're just using it as a. It feels like they're piggybacking on the Saints Row brand to make a new game, which I don't like very much. A good example of a reboot that was done under a different name and everything is Wreckfest. If you've ever played Flat Out or Flat Out 2 in your childhood on PS2, made by Bugbear, right? If you've ever played those and you haven't played Wreckfest, I would recommend it wholeheartedly. It's such an amazing game. But Bugbear took so long to make that game, and they put so much time and effort into it, and they made it perfect. It's a perfect sequel to the Flat Out franchise without it being part of the Flat Out franchise, if you will. And that's what I'm afraid of. What they've done is they've just gone, right, we'll name it Saints Row, even though it's not actually Saints Row. Like the best example I could say is the actual Flat Out 4. It basically made its money because it was named Flat Out 4. It would be the same way as Rockstar making a flight simulator but then calling it GTA 6. It would purely earn money just because it's been named GTA 6, and that's what I don't want to see. I want to see them genuinely put time and effort into the game to show everyone that they want to bring the series back. But I also don't want them to go, we're going to bring the series back, but everything we've established over the decade and more that the games have been out is now just thrown away. A bit like how everything that was considered canon before the Star Wars was brought by Disney is now considered non-canon just because Disney didn't want to have to go down the rabbit hole of that. I don't want to see them just forget about the old fans. I don't want them to just go, fuck the old fans, we don't have to worry about them anymore. I don't want them to be blinded by money. I want them to really show that they are capable of making a Saints Row game again. But yeah, that's all. If you want to subscribe, you can. Don't really care. I don't really use this account that much. You can like the video, share it if you do agree with some of my opinions, and like I said, discuss it in the comment section. Also, go watch some other people's videos and stuff like that. Like I said, Flippy, this Mr. Saints Godzilla. I think it's 21. Who else? I can't. There's some other people. Just sort of look around and sort of like get a couple more perspectives on it. But my opinion right now is it's got potential. It does look like it can be a fun game, but as a Saints Row game, I'm really upset that they've done it the way they have, and I don't like the outcome. But we'll just have to see what comes of it. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you did, if you made it this far, I'm sorry that you had to watch 33 minutes of this. Goodbye.